Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. We actually have good news all across the board. It's actually a bit insane. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. IBM's head of blockchain solutions says he expects the price of Bitcoin to reach $1 million. In an interview with Finder.com, Jesse Lund said he expects Bitcoin will rebound by the end of the year. He said, I think it's going to go higher. I'll go with $5,000. And in the long run, Lund predicts the price of Bitcoin will skyrocket to 7 figures. He said, I have a long-term outlook. I've actually blogged about this a little bit. It goes back to that discussion about the utility of the network with a higher price. So I see Bitcoin at $1 million someday, end quote. In addition, Lund says IBM's cross-border payment network known as Blockchain Worldwire will support multiple cryptocurrencies. He said it could be Ripple, it could be XRP even, it could be Bitcoin, but it will also probably include other instruments like stablecoins, and even eventually soon, hopefully, central bank issued digital currencies, end quote. According to Lund, a number of banks have already signed letters of intent to join the platform. We're going to be supporting more than 50 countries out of the gate, 30 to 40 currencies, and enough market makers to drag along 30 or 40 banks. So we'll have a significant portion of the world covered. We've got letters of intent with several banks around the world to support and issue digital currencies, stable coins, and pay attention to that. We've got letters of intent with several banks around the world to support and issue digital currencies, stable coins, and other currencies. Our goal is to continue to expand that network and to provide global coverage within 3 to 5 years, where you can actually send remittances in a consistent way immediately at a very low cost from anywhere in the world to anywhere in the world, end quote. So, a couple things. I don't even know where to actually begin. And I'll try and get, if I can remember, because guys, I forget very easily when I'm thinking about other articles that I've read, or like when I say that I have to say something else and I end up forgetting about it. Anyway, the point is the $1 million price. It's shocking, but it's not really shocking. I think people who don't see it going that way haven't really been paying attention, probably don't want to pay attention, don't really understand what's happening behind the scenes. And I mean everyone, please pay attention. It's no longer child's play. This isn't something that's for people just sitting in their basement who have one computer who are, mining tiny amounts. We have so many indications that right now there are so many heavy names getting into the space. There's no way on this earth that the price is just going to hit 20,000 and then completely slam back down. That's not going to be any type of a possibility in the future. It's just not anymore. If you had asked me the same question sometime around mid last year, I would have said, maybe it's kind of not even really 50-50. You could have kind of sat there and said, well, depending on how the market moves, it may take a very long time. But the amount of names who've gotten into this space have just been completely insane. I guess I'll touch on it now so I just don't forget a bit later. Typically, when we have really, really major, insanely big news, multiple different websites will kind of talk about it. They'll try to, spin their own point on it, or they'll go over the news because it's something very significant. When the head of IBM, head of blockchain, comes forward and says that he thinks that Bitcoin will eventually hit $1 million. This typically tends to make news, especially because IBM has announced before that they were getting into the cryptocurrency space. What I found the most interesting about all of this is that he kind of came out and answered, and this one doesn't even have as much information as the other one that was kind of trying to downplay it, and that's the part that I really like the most about it. I chose the one that had less information simply because they really just gave the actual news. So if you pay attention here, and if you've been really into the cryptocurrency space for at least, I want to say 6, 7, 8 months, I'm pretty sure you've heard at some point that IBM is into cryptocurrencies, and that the entire narrative has been nonstop that IBM is into cryptocurrencies, but they are only into stellar lumens. And I sat there and I was like, that doesn't seem right. It doesn't make a lot of sense why IBM would have only chosen one cryptocurrency. So the fact that we have clarification, and I know this bothers so many people, and I can feel the seething annoyance floating through the computer screen, but it's actually kind of nice. Because I mentioned before that when IBM announced that they were going to be using what is it called, the blockchain world wire, and everyone kept on saying, well, that's it for XRP. XRP is definitely not going to make it. Stellar is now going to be this only thing that's going to be used through multiple banks. We didn't even have clarification on exactly how many banks it was going to be used for. It was just that there was a bank that was going to be using lumens, and therefore that was the end all. And the fact that I'm so glad that he announced, I don't think that it could be Ripple. I don't think it could be XRP. I don't even think it could be Bitcoin. I think that it is going to be XRP. I think it is going to be Litecoin. I think it is going to be Bitcoin. I think it is going to be EOS. I think it is going to be Ethereum. It's maybe just a matter of time before they're integrated into the system. But you better believe with the amount of money that's floating around, this is why I have such an annoyance with Coinbase. And somebody tried to argue with me the other day talking about that Coinbase was better than Binance. It's not. When you are in this space and you know where the money is going, and I don't know, maybe Coinbase is just never allowed into these meetings. Maybe they get like the invite like after the party is kind of over, because it's clearly obvious at this point which cryptocurrencies the big money is kind of backing, what the big money is kind of sitting behind, and what they think will end up being the major coins. I think, especially if we have, where are the numbers? 30 to 40 currencies. I assume these will be mainly fiat currencies. But the point is, this only makes me even more bullish on the entire cryptocurrency space. The fact that someone from, first of all, when you have to remember that there are usually, we don't have exact names, but there are tons of non-disclosure agreements. These are pretty much things, if I join into an agreement with you and we have a set date, and neither one of us can say anything about what's happening between the project until, a set certain date. So this is why I think we don't have a clear number or even a clear amount of, the names for the actual banks. The fact that they have created something that they have announced that they're going to be using, we know Stellar, that they're going to be using, like I said, it says it's pretty clear that they're going to at some point. I think they would be ridiculously dumb is the nicest word I can think of if they didn't at least add Bitcoin with the Lightning Network as a payment option. It seems completely unbelievable that they would do that. And the fact that we now have clarification that in some sort of way, when they do add these other coins, whether they be stable coins or even these central bank digital currencies, which we know are also going to happen, because we also see that JP Morgan Chase just released their own coin as well, are going to be used, supporting by more than 50 countries, 30 to 40 currencies, 30 or 40 banks. This is going to be huge. This is going to be large. And whenever they do end up finally launching this is going to be absolutely massive. It's moments like these that make me really happy to be in the cryptocurrency space. It's really nice to see that we may not see it ourselves physically as it's all digital, or we may not even be allowed into these meetings as they are happening, but to know that there is a mega presence of banks and institutions who are desperately trying to partner up with IBM to be able to either issue their own coins, use stable coins, or use other cryptocurrencies to be able to send money around the world. I have a strange feeling, and I feel a little bit better about blockchain worldwide, because it didn't make much sense that the entire narrative that we had for about a year and some change was that IBM was only going to use lumens. It just didn't make any sense. This makes me think that blockchain worldwide could actually be something as large as Swift. And I mean that in like an actual, like if we have a situation where you can create blockchains or a blockchain that has all these other cryptocurrencies kind of circling and, moving around it and integrating it with atomic swaps and stuff like that, that you're able to, because the idea is that at some point, we're going to be able to atomically swap between all cryptocurrencies on different types of platforms. So I'm pretty sure that they're probably also working on something like this, because the general idea is, as we are in the future, we're in 2019, even the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, if you walk into a shop in the States with a euro, you cannot pay for that. If you go to Argentina with the US dollar, they'll look at you like you're completely insane. But because we are in the future and everything is pretty much digital, at least right now, we should, in essence, be able to pay for anything with any type of digital currency at a moment's notice. This is why atomic swaps are so interesting, because you could be able to walk into a shop that has a price listed in Satoshis. It may say, 4 million Satoshis, and you only have Tron on you. You should then logically be able to just pay in Tron to be able to pay for the thing you're trying to buy. Anyway, You get what I'm trying to say. I think this is very fascinating. I like that, you know, the $1 million Bitcoin thing. Fascinating. Love it. Can't wait for it. It's going to happen at some point. I want to assume within the next 2, 3, 4 years. I know that sounds a bit close of a time frame. Everything is gearing up for that moment. But the fact that we have clarification a little bit more on exactly what this blockchain world wire is going to be and exactly what they're thinking of doing and who they're integrating with and how many of the banks and the other ones who are lining up to sign letters of intent. Letters of intent. It's all quite fascinating, at least for me. I mean, this has to be fascinating to you as well. Like when it shows like actual usage of cryptocurrencies, this is probably as good as it gets, at least for right now. You know, having IBM talking about that they have multiple banks around the world who are desperate to use cryptocurrencies and sign up with them. Pretty clear where this is all headed. Next up, Bitcoin futures, and I'm gonna maybe kind of slide over this one. It says the Bitcoin price caused CME Group to set new daily trading records for its Bitcoin futures this week. The company confirmed, citing its public statistics, after Bitcoin's price rose to almost $4,000 within 24 hours. CME saw a daily all-time high of over 18,000 contracts trading on the 19th of February. The data confirmed the correlation between futures activity and price. The BTC/USD since halting its advance to hover around $3,970. The activity bucks a trend which has dodged futures providers as recently as 2 weeks ago. As Bitcoin is reported, both CME and CBOE saw record low volume since their offerings first launched in December of 2017. This ties in very easily to the other thing that we saw. It more so has to do with the amount of volume that's now passing through all the networks. Typically before we saw very depressed volumes, and this was also when we had a more depressed market, and I don't mean like actual prices, I mean like more so the sentiment flowing through the entirety of the cryptocurrency space. And this is one of the main problems that we had before, is that we had a lot of stuff in 2018 where people were writing articles and they were speculating that because of the Bitcoin futures kind of betting against the price of Bitcoin, that the prices of Bitcoin were actually falling down in accordance with this. No one knows for certain if that's actually true, probably to some extent, because for some reason Bitcoin is now mimicking things in the traditional financial world, depending on how the sway goes back and forth. But we're seeing high numbers of volumes all across the board, not even just on our own cryptocurrency markets, but also within futures markets. Everyone is gearing up for something. It's almost like they all know that something is coming, and everyone is just trying to, I guess, in essence, prepare themselves for what they think could possibly be down the line for Bitcoin. Quite interesting. Here's one that I think is something that many people will probably want to pay attention to. Cryptocurrency wallet known as My Ether Wallet, or MEW, M-E-W, in collaboration with crypto finance firm Biddy, are releasing a platform to convert cryptocurrency to fiat without know your customer requirements. MEW announced the big news in a blog post published on the 20th of February. Per the announcement, users of the My Ether Wallet V5 wallet are now able to exchange up to 5,000 Swiss francs, around $5,000 worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum, into euros and Swiss francs without going through a know your customer requirement inside the wallet. Users can purportedly make the exchange from any part of the world. KYC procedure enables organizations to verify the identity of their customers before or during dealing with them. Businesses can assess whether their clients are involved in illegal activities like money laundering or corruption. To use so-called the exit to fiat option, customers have to choose the digital asset target digital. Choose the target digital and fiat currencies. Okay, that makes sense. And the wallet dashboard, users will further be asked to provide some personal data, including their phone number, banking details, official name of their bank account, and billing address needed for compliance purposes. So the fact that this kind of gets around it, there are also a couple of other ones that they're not illegal, but they definitely do get around it. There's also like a really popular one that also does it because it's not for super high figures. There's also another one. I know you're able to like swap like $50,000 at a time. I don't know exactly how long these things will be around. I mean, My Ether Wallet is pretty large. I guess there must have been some sort of discussion done behind the scenes. If you can swap between euros, or rather into euros and Swiss francs, some legal discussions probably had to happen, but it's kind of cool that logically, one should be able to do with their money as they choose. However, we don't live in that world, so it's interesting to see crypto breaking the mold, breaking the wall, breaking the computer. It's breaking something, and it's changing the way that we see finance. I guess that's the kind of easiest way of me getting out of that trap. All right, let's move on. Next up, for a number of reasons, a majority of nations in Southeast Asia have quickly become mainstays in the crypto space. Singapore, whose government has indirectly invested in Binance, is known for its array of industry startups, banks that operate in good faith with Bitcoin traders, and sector events. Thailand purportedly has one of the largest crypto investment populations in the world. And the Philippines has long been an industry hub with proper regulation, active investors, and pro-crypto financial institutions in Union Bank. According to a press release obtained by News BTC, Binance Academy, the education-centric branch of the world-renowned exchange, has launched its service with a Bahasa Indonesian version. To accomplish this, Binance employees and contributors translated over 80 articles which pertain to key products and terms in the industry, from English to Indonesian's national language. Per the release, this represents approximately 10% of the content on the English main installment of the website, which sports 726 articles, videos, glossary items, and other forms of media. Breezing over this one. Everyone's desperately trying to get into Asia. I mentioned this before. This has to at least be the 9th time in the last couple of weeks that I'm announcing this. Asia has been relatively friendly depending on where you've gone. And I think that everyone realizes that there's a lot of space or room to grow in these countries, that because for some, and I don't get it, a lot of the economic powerhouses around the world are, I understand why they're not friendly to crypto, but they aren't really opening their doors, and I think that's going to hurt them in the long run unless they've been lying like everybody else, and they say that they hate crypto, but they've actually been buying crypto. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting because I want to say every other day, we're definitely getting information that tons of people or institutions and, exchanges are trying to get into other Asian countries because that's where all the money is. Anyway, let's move on. Here's another really interesting one. Purchase agreements for messaging service known as Telegram's Gram token will be terminated if the Telegram open network known as TON does not launch by Halloween of this year. An apparent purchase agreement with the said terms was obtained by Cointelegraph yesterday. The agreement details the legal niceties of Gram token purchases, outlining regulations for the different jurisdictions in regard to the distribution of the tokens. Notably, it states that should the network not be released by Halloween, the contract will be considered null and void. While the document provides the names of the founder of the encrypted message, Telegram, Pavel Durov, it has not yet been signed or dated. The document also lists the address for Harney's, a lawyer's office in Brighton, British Virgin Islands, where Telegram is also registered. According to the document, the company intends to create and release a new digital currency called Grams, following the development and launch of a new blockchain platform known as the TON network. We've had, if I'm not mistaken, it's been since about 2017 that we've had news that this was going to launch. Is it sources familiar with the matter recently told Cointelegraph that TON could launch as early as March? Yeah, I think that might be, once again, March. Right here. I think that could be best because, to make everything null and void by Halloween is probably not a very good idea. I have a feeling that the people who are doing the Telegram token and also, what's the other one? The Kin token. I hope they don't try to pit themselves against each other. I feel like they could definitely coexist in the exact same world. But a lot of companies can be very ridiculous and then try to once again pit themselves against other companies who they probably should not be pitting themselves against at all. I feel like both of these companies could definitely flourish if they leave each other alone and just kind of build their own networks on their own on the side while no one else is really paying attention. And yeah, like I said, it's been quite some time since we've had news about the Telegram TON network token and still have no cryptocurrency. So let's hope that within the next 8 or so days that they 6 days? 6 days. Yeah, February. That they kind of get it together and at least announce some sort of a release date because, life. All right, let's move on. kind of some of the, I guess, even the biggest, like this entire video has been just full of really insane news. The anticipation that 2019 will be the year for mass institutional crypto investments is building. The number of long-awaited futures contracts and exchange-traded funds to ease institutions in is growing. Adding to that list is a European derivatives exchange, which is gearing up to launch its own crypto products. According to The Block, Eurex has been meeting with industry experts and market makers in recent weeks in the lead up to the launch of its own crypto investment products. The firm is a derivatives exchange operated by Germany's Deutsche Börse. Citing people familiar with the matter, the report adds that initial futures contracts will be based on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Eurex has joined the likes of the Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE, VanEck, and RSX, which are all angling to get physically delivered crypto contracts onto the market this year. Keep in mind, physically delivered cryptocurrency contracts. A prolonged U.S. government shutdown has hampered regulatory processes and delayed the launch of many crypto-related products. According to German-based publication Wirtschaftswoche, the Deutsche Börse has been mulling crypto futures since December 2017. They said, we are thinking about futures with which private investors and institutional investors can protect existing investments in Bitcoin or set for falling prices of the cybercurrency. In addition to the big names like Bakkt, a number of other prominent crypto companies are looking to enter derivatives markets as well. BitMEX, Bitflyer, and OKEX. No, as far as I can tell, I didn't really see one. If I can find it, nope. There's no set date. I'm assuming they're also gunning for sometime in 2019. How weird would that be if we get an announcement that the German stock exchange is launching Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP physically delivered futures? Yeah, futures contracts in March. That would be kind of insane. I would not put it past them. And this is when I talk about Bitcoin zooming past $20,000 a coin. These are the moments I'm talking about. It's bittersweet in some sort of way that so many people are not paying attention to the price of cryptocurrencies, at least right now, because they're a lot easier to get into. When you have the New York Stock Exchange, the German Stock Exchange, VanEck, CBOE, RSX, and so many other people and institutions trying to get into the cryptocurrency space, and it's not even like if they were only creating cryptocurrency exchanges, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool, that's kind of weird. They're creating so many products around these things. Bitcoin is one day, whether you want to believe it or not, going to reach $1 million. Look deep within your heart and your soul and your mind and realize the amount of money. We have something that is 10 years old that's being integrated into stock exchanges around the world who are desperate to launch their products so that you can use them and that other millionaires and billionaires around the world. This is when you want to talk about people buying up cryptocurrencies. It's not people, putting in $200, $300, $400, $500 a month. There's big money getting into cryptocurrency desperately. They're dropping an enormous amount of money on it. And this is why I said before, not financial advice. If you are at least, I don't want to say the word smart, if you are knowledgeable enough to pay attention to even put in $10 a week into the cryptocurrency space, you're going to be a lot farther ahead than millions of other people around the world who are not putting any money into this market. Please pay attention to all the news that we're getting. The market may not be moving right now, but when all of these things are active, this is why I think it's very funny when we still have people who talk about that Bitcoin's price isn't going anywhere this year. They're insane. They have no idea what they're talking about. When we have Bitcoin posting $10-15 billion per day in actual volume through cryptocurrency exchanges and also through these things as well, we're going to have a very, very different world very, very soon. Bitcoin is now over $4,000. Let's hope that is sustained, at least for the rest of the day. All right, everyone. That is definitely going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are. Wherever in this world you might be, I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Vlad the Impaler, Gil Boa Snake, Rai, Brady Nields, L. Doug, Arthur Yaku, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Nick Mangialavori, Travis Haynes, Gordon Nikic, Yasha Harari, Anthony Charles, Nick Kanaya, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Jim Gardner, and Jared Schneider. Thank you all very much for your generosity. I appreciate it more than you could possibly begin to imagine. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.